We are still, like most Americans, scrambling to learn who the new speaker is, Mike Johnson. We know that he's a really religious guy who produced a lot of content that seems a little bit questionable. Well, now we're finding out more about his past because a German TV news outlet has revealed footage that was previously broadcast years ago of him and his then teenage daughter preparing for and participating in a purity ball. Now, if you're not familiar with purity balls, that's understandable. They're sort of a localized thing inside of the United States. Around the world, they're far less common. But basically, they involve fathers generally and their teenage daughters dressing up for a night of dinner and dancing at a ball, as you do. And then it ends with the daughter signing a pledge to her father, promising that she will not engage in sex before marriage. And usually then puts on a ring that's supposed to be a physical reminder of the promise that she has made to her father. I have always thought that these are a little bit odd. And so understand that me being the godless atheist as I am, I'm probably gonna come off as pretty judgmental here. But now the new context is I have a daughter. And so let me say now with that new context as a father, this is even weirder. What the hell is going on in America? It is, I cannot conceive of it. Putting on a tux and getting my daughter in a dress and then surrounded by a bunch of people being like, promise me. You can't, it's gonna make me look like a total schlep. Don't do it, don't do it. And she's like, yeah, I won't have sex. That seems so weird to me, Brett. And I know that I'm being judgmental, but what do you think?
Purity balls sounds like the tongue-in-cheek name of a specific brand of Benoit ball that you put inside you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I bought some purity balls and all right, that's enough.
If they existed, Ted Cruz would ban them.
Yeah, exactly. It's so like I have no problem with people having discussions about sex before marriage and deciding together as a family living out their values. But like the artifice of this is very creepy. I will fight to the death for their right to do it. But yeah, sure. It is undeniably so creepy when you see videos. I think it wasn't a purity ball, one of those things that maybe it was a debutante ball, but a lot of these things just have like these old world, at the same time charms, but simultaneously like creep factor.
100%. Yeah, I agree. By the way, you should be allowed to do this. But let's also bear in mind that like there's definitely consent stuff here. Like the daughter has to participate. The sort of father that wants her to wear a ring, promising not to have sex, is probably not like, hey, is this a thing you'd like to do? I'm not into it, but would you like to do a purity ball? That's probably not how it shakes out in practice. So by the way, I'm not getting down on his daughter or any of the other daughters here. And I really wish that they were surrounded by people that would not engage in practices and rhetoric and ideology that has been demonstrated to have lingering negative effects on people's self-esteem. And also, by the way, the people who participate in these things, it's found that when they go on to have sex, because the weird thing is so many of them do still end up doing it, are less likely to have the information they need about STIs and pregnancy and become pregnant at earlier rates than others. And by the way, this is not like purely abstract. Kelly Johnson, Mike Johnson's wife, says we don't talk to her about contraception. Sex before marriage is simply out of the question. And this like leading via religious rhetoric and enforced ignorance, we know that that does not actually serve the needs of young people. So I'm gonna be a little bit critical. I do want to say though really fast in defense of Mike Johnson, because generally this has a super misogynistic focus where it's only focused on the girl's sex life. In his defense, he's also super creepy about his son's sex life. Remember, he's the guy that had an app that would warn him if his son looked at porn and would also warn his son if he did. So consistency counts.
I'm with John. There are better results with other methods than what Mike Johnson is doing.
100%. You can be concerned about the effects of early sex or whatever, but they're very much not educating, which I think is the best way to avoid those results. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.